It's easy to fall into the trap of negativity without even realizing it. But let me tell you, the way you think, the people you surround yourself with, and the choices you make are all powerful forces that shape the life you're living. Today we're going to look at 7 signs that you might be attracting negativity into your life. These are signs that you must pay attention to because they indicate that something in your mindset or your environment needs to change. First, negative self-talk. If your inner dialogue is constantly filled with, I can't, I'm not good enough, or I'll never succeed, you're setting yourself up to attract more of what you don't want. Your mind is like a magnet, and negative thoughts are like the iron shavings it pulls in. Focus on what you can do, and you'll begin to attract more opportunities, solutions, and possibilities. Second, surrounding yourself with negative people. Think about the people in your life. Are they encouraging, uplifting, and supportive, or do they complain, criticize, and drag you down? The people you spend time with can significantly affect your energy and mindset. If you're constantly surrounded by negativity, you will start to mirror it. Start looking for people who inspire you, challenge you, and push you toward your best self. Negative people will only hold you back. Third, lack of boundaries. Another sign is a lack of boundaries. If you're always saying yes to things that drain you, if you're always giving and never taking time for yourself, you're opening the door to negativity. Healthy boundaries are essential for protecting your energy. They allow you to focus on what truly matters and prevent others from overstepping their place in your life. Without boundaries, you will find yourself overwhelmed and stuck in a cycle of negativity. Fourth, victim mentality. If you're constantly blaming others or external circumstances for your misfortune, you're in danger of attracting negativity. A victim mentality keeps you stuck. It prevents you from taking responsibility for your own actions and choices. Remember, the world will throw challenges your way. What matters is how you respond. Take control of your life. You are not a victim. You are in charge of your destiny. Fifth, fear of change. Now, fear of change is another powerful force that attracts negativity. If you're resisting change because you're afraid of failure, rejection, or the unknown, you're standing in the way of your own growth. Change is inevitable, and it's essential for progress. The fear of change holds you in place, and that's where negativity thrives. Step out of your comfort zone, embrace the uncertainty, and you'll see new doors open that lead to positivity and success. Sixth, holding on to the past. We've all been hurt, disappointed, and faced setbacks. But if you're holding on to past wounds, regrets, or grudges, you're allowing that negativity to shape your present and future. The past is over, and it no longer has control over you unless you allow it. Let go of what's behind you and focus on what lies ahead. That's where your power and your potential are. Seventh, complaining instead of taking action. Lastly, if you find yourself constantly complaining but never taking action to improve your situation, you're feeding into negativity. Complaining does nothing but reinforce the problem. It's easy to complain, but it's more powerful to take action, even small steps, to create change. Shift your focus from what's wrong to what you can do to make it better. Action is the antidote to negativity. Negative self-talk is one of the most powerful forces that shape our reality, and it often goes unnoticed. The thoughts we have about ourselves are critical because they influence how we perceive the world and how we interact with it. If your inner dialogue is constantly filled with phrases like, I'm not good enough, I'll never succeed, or I always mess things up, you are actively creating a mindset that attracts negativity. This is because the mind is like a magnet. It will draw on experiences, people, and opportunities that align with the thoughts you're having. If you focus on what you lack, what you fear, and what you can't do, that's exactly what will manifest in your life. The problem with negative self-talk is that it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. When you believe you are not capable or worthy of success, your actions and behavior reflect that belief. For example, if you think, I'm not good enough to apply for that job you'll never put yourself out there. Or if you believe, I'm not capable of finishing this project, you'll procrastinate or avoid it altogether. These thoughts limit your potential and prevent you from seizing opportunities that could otherwise lead to growth and success. In essence, negative self-talk locks you in a mental prison where you are trapped by your own limiting beliefs. One of the reasons why negative self-talk is so damaging is that it often becomes automatic. You might not even realize how often these thoughts pop into your mind, but over time they accumulate and affect your behavior and decisions. Our minds are wired to focus on what's wrong, especially in situations that make us feel insecure or uncertain. This survival mechanism, while useful in some situations, can become a barrier when it comes to achieving personal growth. The more you repeat negative thoughts, the more you reinforce the idea that these beliefs are true, making it harder to break free from them. The key to overcoming negative self-talk is awareness. The first step is recognizing when these thoughts arise. Pay attention to the moments when you catch yourself saying, "I can't," or "I'm not good enough." These thoughts are often linked to situations where you're pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, and they stem from fear, doubt, or past experiences of failure. The next step is to challenge those thoughts. Ask yourself, is this really true? Is there evidence to support this belief? You'll likely find that many of the things you tell yourself are exaggerated or untrue. Your inner critic often distorts reality, making it seem like you're incapable or unworthy when, in reality, you have the skills and abilities to succeed. Another important aspect of overcoming negative self-talk is replacing those thoughts with positive affirmations and empowering beliefs. Instead of saying, "I'm not good enough," try saying, "I am capable of achieving great things," or "I have the strength and resilience to handle challenges." By changing your internal dialogue, you begin to shift your mindset from one of limitation to one of possibility. The more you affirm positive beliefs about yourself, the more they will become a part of your reality. It's important to note that this isn't about ignoring your weaknesses or pretending that everything is perfect. It's about acknowledging your strengths and recognizing that you have the power to grow, learn, and improve. Visualization is another powerful tool that can help you shift your mindset. Picture yourself succeeding, whether it's acing a presentation, getting the job you want, or completing a challenging task. By vividly imagining success, you train your brain to expect positive outcomes, which can help reduce the power of negative self-talk. This exercise can also boost your confidence and remind you that you are capable of achieving your goals. Be patient with yourself. Changing the way you think takes time, especially if negative self-talk has been a part of your life for a long time. You won't stop having negative thoughts overnight, but with consistent effort, you can change the patterns of thinking that hold you back. Celebrate the small wins along the way, whether it's catching yourself in a negative thought and replacing it with something positive or taking action despite your doubts. Over time, these small steps will add up, and you will notice a shift in your mindset and the way you approach life. Negative self-talk has the potential to keep you stuck in a cycle of negativity, but it doesn't have to be that way. By becoming aware of your inner dialogue, challenging the limiting beliefs that arise and replacing them with empowering thoughts, you can break free from the grip of negativity. Remember, your thoughts shape your reality, and when you start thinking more positively and constructively, you'll begin to attract more of the same into your life. The power to change your mindset is in your hands. Use it wisely and watch your life transform. The people you surround yourself with play a crucial role in the energy and mindset you bring into your life. It's easy to underestimate how much influence the people in your environment can have on your thoughts, actions, and emotional state. If you are constantly surrounded by negative, toxic, or pessimistic individuals, it becomes almost impossible to maintain a positive and productive mindset. These individuals, whether they are friends, family, coworkers, or acquaintances, can unknowingly or sometimes knowingly bring you down, drain your energy, and perpetuate a cycle of negativity. One of the first signs that you're attracting negativity due to the people around you is a feeling of emotional exhaustion. You may notice that after spending time with certain people, you feel drained, anxious, or upset, even if nothing particularly negative has occurred. It's as if your energy has been depleted and you're left feeling mentally and emotionally spent. This often happens when you're around people who constantly complain, gossip, criticize, or dwell on the negative aspects of life. Their energy can become contagious, and if you're not careful, you can begin to adopt the same attitudes and behaviors without even realizing it. If you're always around people who focus on problems instead of solutions, it's easy to start thinking that every challenge in life is insurmountable. Negative people often amplify issues and make them seem bigger than they actually are. Instead of discussing ways to improve or solve problems, they dwell on obstacles and emphasize why something can't be done. This mindset can rub off on you, causing you to feel hopeless, frustrated, or paralyzed by fear when facing challenges. The longer you spend in this environment, the more difficult it becomes to see possibilities or focus on finding solutions to your own problems. In contrast, when you surround yourself with people who have a positive outlook, are solution-focused, and encourage you to be your best, it naturally influences your behavior and mindset in a more empowering direction. Positive people can inspire you to take action, believe in yourself, and pursue your goals with confidence. Their optimism is infectious, and their energy lifts you up rather than dragging you down. They provide encouragement when you're feeling uncertain to celebrate your successes, no matter how small they may seem. Their support creates an environment where you can thrive, take risks, and achieve things you never thought possible. Another aspect of being surrounded by negative people is that it can create an environment where you're not able to be your authentic self. Negative individuals often criticize others or make them feel inadequate. This can lead to feelings of insecurity, self-doubt, and fear of judgment. Over time, you may begin to hide parts of yourself to avoid criticism or rejection. Instead of being open, vulnerable, and true to who you are, you may find yourself trying to meet the expectations or approval of others. This not only stifles your personal growth, but also contributes to a negative self-image. When you're constantly seeking validation from negative individuals, you lose sight of your own worth and begin to internalize their toxic beliefs. The tendency to surround yourself with negative people may stem from fear or a lack of awareness. Sometimes we continue to stay in these relationships because of familiarity, loyalty, or a sense of obligation. We might feel guilty about distancing ourselves from people who have been in our lives for a long time, or we may fear being alone. However, it's essential to recognize that your growth and happiness should never be sacrificed for the sake of maintaining relationships that are harmful to your well-being. While it may be uncomfortable to distance yourself from negative people, it is often necessary in order to protect your mental and emotional health. There is also a deeper issue that arises when we allow negative individuals to occupy space in our lives, the influence of negativity on our self-worth. If the people around you constantly tear others down, point out flaws, or make you feel less than, you begin to internalize those messages. Over time, you may start to believe that you're not good enough or that you're unworthy of success and happiness. Negative people often project their own insecurities onto others, and if you're constantly exposed to their criticism and judgment, it can start to affect how you view yourself. This cycle of self-doubt and insecurity keeps you stuck in a mindset of negativity. It's important to remember that you have the power to choose who you spend time with. You don't have to remain in relationships that are unhealthy or toxic. While it's not always possible to completely cut ties with negative individuals, you can set boundaries and limit your exposure to their negativity. Seek out people who uplift, support, and inspire you. Find communities that align with your values, passions, and goals. Surround yourself with individuals who encourage growth, who push you to be better, and who create an environment of positivity and possibility. In conclusion, the people around you have a significant impact on your mindset and your ability to stay positive. Negative individuals can drain your energy, perpetuate feelings of doubt, and make it harder to maintain an optimistic outlook. On the other hand, surrounding yourself with supportive, positive people can help you overcome challenges, believe in your potential, and create a life that reflects your highest aspirations. Be mindful of the company you keep, and remember that you have the power to choose who you allow into your life. The energy you invite in will shape the energy you give out, and ultimately the life you create for yourself. One of the most important factors in attracting negativity is failing to set healthy boundaries. Boundaries are the invisible lines we draw around ourselves that help protect our emotional, mental, and physical well-being. Without clear boundaries, we open ourselves up to external influences, and we can easily become overwhelmed by the demands, expectations, and energy of others. In fact, when we allow others to overstep our boundaries, we create an environment where negativity can thrive. It's crucial to recognize when you are not honoring your boundaries, because this is when negativity starts to seep in and affect every aspect of your life. When you don't establish clear boundaries, it's easy to fall into the trap of saying yes to things you don't want to do, engaging in conversations that drain you, or allowing others to take up too much of your time and energy. The inability to say no can lead to feelings of resentment, burnout, and frustration. These emotions build up over time, creating a cycle of negativity that can feel difficult to escape. For instance, if you consistently agree to help others, even when it leaves you exhausted or overwhelmed, you may begin to feel taken for granted. This can lead to negative emotions like anger or helplessness, which ultimately bring you further away from peace and joy. In relationships, the lack of boundaries often leads to people-pleasing behavior. People pleasers often neglect their own needs in order to meet the demands of others. This type of behavior may stem from a desire to be liked, accepted, or avoid conflict, but it ultimately results in feelings of dissatisfaction and a loss of self-respect. You may find yourself constantly giving and giving without receiving anything in return. This one-sided dynamic invites negativity into your life because you are constantly trying to meet others' needs at the expense of your own. Over time, this can cause feelings of resentment and frustration, making it hard to feel positive or hopeful. When boundaries are not respected, it also becomes easier to absorb negative energy from others. Many people have a tendency to project their own frustrations, insecurities, and unhappiness onto those around them. If you don't have clear boundaries, you may find yourself taking on the emotional burden of other people's negativity. For example, if a friend or coworker is always complaining or gossiping, you might feel compelled to listen, even though it's bringing you down. Without boundaries, these external sources of negativity can seep into your own emotional state, leaving you feeling drained, anxious, or unhappy. It's essential to protect yourself from this kind of energy by learning to say no and distancing yourself from situations or people that bring you down. Failing to set boundaries also affects your time management. When you don't establish clear limits on how much time and energy you are willing to invest in certain activities or people, you can easily become overwhelmed. This leads to stress, anxiety, and feelings of being out of control, all of which are fertile ground for negativity. When you constantly overextend yourself, you are essentially inviting chaos into your life. You may feel like you're never able to catch up, and this constant state of overwhelm can negatively affect your physical and mental health. Without boundaries, it becomes difficult to prioritize your own well-being and needs. In addition, not having boundaries often leads to the erosion of self-respect. When you don't stand firm in what you believe or allow others to push your limits, you lose a sense of control over your life. Over time, this can result in feelings of low self-worth and a lack of confidence. It's crucial to understand that setting boundaries is not about being selfish or uncaring. It's about protecting your peace and ensuring that you are able to show up as your best self for others. Without boundaries, you are constantly sacrificing your own happiness and well-being, which inevitably leads to negativity. Another major consequence of not setting boundaries is the inability to protect your mental health. Mental well-being is just as important as physical health, and it requires conscious effort to preserve it. When you don't create space for yourself, when you don't give yourself permission to say no, take breaks, or step away from stressful situations, you risk depleting your mental reserves. Eventually, this mental exhaustion can lead to burnout, depression, and anxiety. These are the kinds of emotional states that invite negativity into your life. People who don't set boundaries often struggle with these issues because they are constantly absorbing stress, conflict, and negative energy from others. So how do you begin to set and enforce boundaries in your life? The first step is recognizing the importance of doing so. You must acknowledge that you have a right to protect your time, energy, and emotional space. You are not obligated to meet every request or demand placed upon you. Learning to say no is one of the most empowering things you can do for yourself. It may be uncomfortable at first, especially if you've been in the habit of people-pleasing, but it is a necessary step toward reclaiming your peace and happiness. Start small. Identify areas in your life where you feel overwhelmed or drained and begin to set limits in those areas. If a friend or family member is constantly asking for favors, learn to say no or offer alternative ways you can help that don't drain your energy. If work demands are overwhelming, set clear boundaries around your time and communicate those boundaries to your colleagues or boss. Most importantly, remember that setting boundaries isn't about cutting people off or being rude, it's about establishing mutual respect. When you set boundaries, you are teaching others how to treat you, and you are asserting your right to take care of yourself. In conclusion, failing to set boundaries is one of the most powerful ways negativity creeps into your life. Without boundaries, you risk being overwhelmed, drained, and emotionally exhausted. You open yourself up to absorbing negative energy from others, and you lose control over your own time, emotions, and well-being. Setting healthy boundaries is essential for maintaining your mental, emotional, and physical health. By learning to say no, protect your space, and prioritize your own needs, you can begin to create a life where positivity, peace, and happiness can flourish. Boundaries are not barriers, they are the foundation for a life filled with respect, self-love, and empowerment. When you find yourself constantly feeling overwhelmed by stress or unable to manage your emotions effectively, it is a sign that you may be attracting negativity into your life. Emotional instability is often the result of unresolved issues, poor coping mechanisms, or an inability to process emotions in a healthy way. When emotions are not managed properly, they can spiral out of control, leading to a cycle of negative thinking, behavior, and energy. The inability to maintain emotional balance can make it difficult to stay focused, find solutions, or take proactive steps in your life. This instability creates a fertile ground for negativity to grow and affect every aspect of your well-being. One of the key factors contributing to emotional instability is the way we handle stress. Stress is a natural part of life, but how we respond to it can either lead to growth or create more problems. If you often find yourself feeling anxious, upset, or overwhelmed by the demands of life, it might be because you're not managing your stress in a healthy way. Constantly worrying about the future, dwelling on past mistakes, or overthinking situations can fuel negative emotions. This type of mindset can lead to anxiety, frustration, and feelings of being out of control. When stress is not dealt with effectively, it can trigger a cascade of negative emotions that disrupt your mental and emotional state. One of the most common ways stress manifests is through feelings of inadequacy or fear of failure. When we are constantly stressed, we tend to focus on what could go wrong instead of what could go right. This fear-based mindset can prevent us from taking action, trying new things, or pursuing our goals with confidence. We become trapped in a cycle of negative thinking, convinced that failure is inevitable or that we are not capable of handling challenges. This constant fear and doubt drain our energy and prevent us from moving forward, further reinforcing negative emotions and behaviors.